Okay, so a couple quick points about placemat advertising. You're going to find that a lot of these companies that offer placemat advertising are local to the area that they're actually working with. So, if it's a Chicago company, then there's a pretty good chance that they're working with restaurants and diners within the Chicago area. That's why there's so many of them. So, scalability wise, what if I had to pick one thing that kind of sucks about it is that there's no like massive ad network of a placemat company where you can just buy throughout the entire United States. Um, at the same time, that's not really a big deal because this is really a traffic source. Obviously, for guys who are just starting out, I think it's a fantastic return of investment for direct response style offers because, again, like I talked about before, these aren't typically placemat advertising is not done by direct response advertisers. So I don't think it's possible for anybody to make millions of dollars in placemat advertising. I think it's a fantastic place to advertise when you're just starting out in the business, or anyone who would be very thrilled to be making anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 a month. Those kind of numbers I absolutely know for a fact you can do with placemat advertising because we do. As far as going any bigger than that, you're gonna reach a ceiling pretty quickly once you start spending some dough. But anyway, I want to go over a couple of quick things. Right now we're on placematadvertising.net. I'm going to go over to the rates section here. And as you can see, they list the restaurants that they work with. And what you also notice is there isn't a lot of restaurants that they work with, and that's pretty normal. You always want to make sure that whatever company you're working with, whether they list them on the website or not, is still going to give you a list of all the restaurants they work with and where your ads potentially can be shown, or where you can purchase ad space. The next step that I really suggest you do is because, again, like anything else, you always can run into middlemen and scammers, and either one I don't want to deal with. Definitely you don't want to deal with scammers, but you know what? You also don't want to deal with middlemen. I want to make sure that the company that I'm working with is the one who is the direct source of advertising for a specific location, and that applies to any type of advertising. So what I would suggest that you do when you come across sites like this is grab a location. Like for example, the one I did was this Double T Diner. I went to the Double T Diner website, as you can see right here. Grab the phone number, and if they don't have a website, it's still going to be listed in yellowpages.com or off of Google business locations. I called them up real quick. The conversation went exactly like this. They answered, hello, Double T Diner, blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, listen, I know this is kind of a weird question, but if you could do me a favor and just tell me the name of the company that does your placemat advertising, I'd like to contact them and purchase some ad space. And as usual, they were a little bit like, ah, Jesus Christ. It's kind of frustrating for them. But the guy went over. He got a placemat, and he gave me the phone number of the company that appears in the bottom of the placemat. That phone number, put into Google, came up with placematadvertising.net, which is the company we're on. So 2 minutes there, it is an important step because, like I said, you want to make sure that this company actually does sell advertising, and there's no middleman company or anything like that. There have been at least 5 or 6 times when somebody was either a middleman company, and we could have bought the ad cheaper through the direct source, or we called the restaurant and they didn't even offer placemat ads, which is interesting. So that would classify as somebody who is either outright just scamming everybody, or they're trying to inflate, the numbers that they're telling you by saying they work with, 150 restaurants when maybe they only work with 10. So it's just cool to take a minute, just verify that these guys are who they say they are, and it's completely legit. Placematadvertising.net, legit company, legitimately sells placemat advertising. So now we know we can call these guys up and buy an ad. Here are the rates over here in the right hand corner, and the point that I like to make is look how cheap it is. It's $89 or $69 for the lowest package. They estimate that over the course of 3 months, you're going to be in front of about 59,000 unique people. That's a pretty good deal overall for these types of ads, and I'm going to do a buy with these guys and demonstrate that to you and show you, it may be a profitable campaign or it may not, but I want to show you at least, what you can sort of expect with this whole thing as time goes on. And it's just very inexpensive to get started. It's very targeted. Like I said, this particular company deals with obviously restaurants throughout in Maryland. Maryland is a great, I can tell you already, Maryland's going to be a really good spot for biz op advertising, make extra money, that kind of stuff. Um, and I'm going to do a buy with these guys. I'm going to show you the ad we're going to use, and we'll give it a run. But I just wanted to point out again how cost effective this is for guys just starting out to make a little bit of good ROI, and just a couple of quick points to make sure that you don't get scammed or work with the wrong company when you're sort of reaching out to these different aggregators.